Have you settled the score about the drop train?
No, it's written down.
It's Baden Cook. I completely forgot about Baden Cook.
He forgot about
I
it.
think it's a bit surprised that I won. It's not many occasions where you actually set a plan and they actually come off.
Hearing that from him, gives me goosebumps.
Cadell Evans cannot be beaten now.
This is the first time I hear Stewie and Andy telling the story.
And I took a cab home in the Magna Rosa, and the cab driver did not believe me that was actually the pink jersey. Why the hell would you be in my cab?
What I've learned through my life is everything is just a phase,
It's a real pleasure for me to be able to come back and jump on here with you guys because I admire what you do. I really do.
Well, we are back. The Detour is live. I'm your host, Dan Jones, joined by four-time National Road Champion from Australia, Johnny Trevorrow, who, geez, if you're excited that the Detour is back, think of this guy, Johnny Trevorrow. For 2 years, you have not stopped saying, mate, when do we get the Detour back? And here we are. Did you ever think it'd happen?
No, I didn't actually. I thought you'd pull the plug, but we managed to get enough support that actually turned you around. But Dan, great to see you, mate. And listen, great to our audience, a new audience now that people like Dave Brailsford say how good we are. And then when you get former President Trump and current President Biden also talking about how special we are, you know that it's going to be bigger and better than ever, mate.
And we're back with the live comments. Remember those? Nathan
do.
Kopetsky says about time. So it's been a 2-year spell, but we are definitely back, and we've got a big edition of the Tour de France this year, Johnny, starting in Italy.
It is. Look, I'm really excited, and of course, it can't start without some technical difficulties because that's part of our, of what we do. And it's luckily you've been trying for 15 minutes to get me online, but I've got there with about a minute to spare.
He rolls up. He doesn't have his mic plugged in. And then I said at the end, mate, have you got headphones? He goes, nah, have to do it without it. We'll be right.
Can't find them. But also our first guest, Phil Liggett, he's having trouble connecting too. It's something to do with the new Google Chrome or something. But anyway, we'll get him in the next one. And we're going to have Whitey and Plappy on pretty soon too, which will be fantastic to talk with them. But yeah, you're right, Dan. Look, hey, great to be back. Great to be back with you. And we see each other all the time. But I'm excited about this tour. One, I'm not excited because I'm not there in one, but I'm peed off with that. Vazzy and I were flying out a couple of days ago, but some issues popped up. I just couldn't get away. Police wouldn't let me out of the country or something, but no, it wasn't that. But I am excited. First time ever starting in Italy. The first stage, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong, as they say. We've got this amazing situation. You've got the guy who's won the last 2 Tours de France, who beat the guy who won the 2 Tours de France before, who everyone thought he was going to be the rider of the decade. No one ever beat him again. And after the ride last year at Vingegaard, you would say, you know what, he's going to be hard to beat. But the complete reversal, he's the one who was injured. He hasn't only raced a couple of small races since when he went out in April, and with terrible injuries, punctured lung and broken ribs and everything. But he wouldn't be starting if he wasn't in really good form. But there's that bit of doubt because he hasn't had the normal preparation. And when these two are so close, so I'm so excited about tonight because tonight's stage is a ripper. And it's on the borderline, the cusp of whether it's going to be too hard for the likes of Bling, Michael Matthews and Van Aert and Van der Poel, and whether the GC riders come in. And it could very well do that because I reckon Pogacar isn't going to wait around for Vingegaard to find his legs. He's going to be hitting him all on today. So it's all on today.
Yeah, well, if you have a look at the markets, they've got Pogacar on top, $3.20, Wout van Aert, $8, Van der Poel, $11, Pidcock, $14, and Bettiol at $16.
What have you got Vingegaard at? What's Vingegaard?
Vingegaard is $61 for the stage.
Oh, for the stage. Okay.
Stage, not the overall, mate.
What about for the overall? What are they saying about for the overall?
Overall, they've got today Pogacar at $1.52, Vingegaard at $3.30, Roglic at $8.50, Evner Pole at 16s, Adam Yates 21s. Now the Smoky, and we're obviously barring any technical difficulties, we're going to chat to Matt White a bit later. Simon Yates, $51. I think about $17 for a podium. Juicy odds, Johnny.
I would be backing him right now. I could tell you, I'd be putting money on that. That is very, very good odds, especially for the place. I reckon he'll get on the podium. But you know who they've left out of this? And I think he's a genuine chance.
Who's that?
Jai Hindley.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah, Bora have just done the big contract now. They've got Red Bull on as a major player. I think they're part owners now. Lots of money. And Roglic, they've got Roglic over because, you know, that's the one thing, Don Quixote thing he hasn't done. He's won everything else virtually. Tour de France, you know, he almost had it when the Pog knocked him off. And it's what he wants more than anything. But I don't think he will. I wasn't that impressed with him, even though he won the Dauphiné. I thought he was, there was just a couple of little cracks there. Jai was riding beautifully for him. I think if they're smart, they'll have him and Jai because they've got Vlasov as well, very strong.
How good's the expert analysis? He wins the Dauphiné. He goes, nah, not that impressed with the ride. Nah, doesn't tick the boxes for Johnny.
No, he won it, but he didn't. He just faltered a little bit towards the end. So look, he won it. Of course, he's brilliant. But I just think that Jai, if they're smart and don't make Jai work too hard, to keep them as the number one man for later on in the mountains, because it could very well turn around. It could very well be Jai Hindley they end up riding for. And if that's the case, big chance for a podium. And anything can happen in this bike race, they know. Pog, you know, we're talking about...
Jai came out looking pretty good up from that Netflix series, I thought. Very likable.
Yes, it's a really nice headline today in our local Herald Sun paper talking about they're saying it's nonsense, him and Ben O'Connor, about this rivalry that's popping out. Of course, there's a rivalry. They're both from Perth, but they're good mates. But they did twist a little bit of the stories to make it, to build it up, I guess. Hey, would you believe the TV company would do that? But anyway.
Mate, we do it better than anyone. Yeah. It's all spice. It's all story.
Look, it's sensational. But it's the same with Pidcock saying the same thing. That made him look really bad in that he wasn't prepared to ride for Rodriguez. But, hey, he said, you know, he's complained about the same thing. It's edited out of things I said was to do with something else and all of that. Hard to believe that they would do anything like that. But, yeah, look, I got to say, if you haven't watched the Netflix series, have a look at it. It is absolutely fantastic. Just
right up there with Backstage Pass. Yep.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's better than that. We've got a couple of live comments. Keep them flooding in. Dave Hanheller, boys are back in town. Jan Boardman, she was a regular. Either of you going to France? You both seem to still be in Australia. That's correct. If you addressed that before, I'll be obviously staying in Australia as well, which doesn't mean we can't have some good insights, Johnny, and just tap into the people that are on the ground. But it is a shame that we're not there. But anyway.
Well, you never know what could happen. Vazzy's ready to go. If I suddenly say, you know, we're going for the last week, it could change. But
all right, we might get a GoFundMe going and just get people to donate a couple of bucks. Gabe H says we're back. Nathan Rapetsky again says it will be on like Donkey Kong. Hardest start I can think of. Can't win it today, but can easily lose it. That's a
great old parlance, that one, isn't it? But it's often touted. But I'll tell you what, I'm excited about this tour in lots of ways. Okay, first start in Italy, which is surprising. I didn't realise that until I read it. We raced in Italy plenty of times. The first time I started there.
That is a surprise. I would have thought that they would have gone to Italy at some stage, but
they've been to Italy plenty of times, but they haven't started a tour there.
Yeah,
and no Paris for the first time in about
first time ever. First time ever. First time ever.
That
has never not finished.
Oh, there you go. First time ever. And with the time trial finished, now a few of the Grand Tours have had time trial finales recently, but the tour hasn't done since 1989, and we all know what happened then. Closest finish ever when Le Monde steamrolled the French hero Laurent Fignon to win by 8 seconds, closest ever. And I'll tell you what, this tour could very well put a very similar, roll out a similar scenario, because the final time trial from Monaco to Nice will be a ripper. It's not an easy one. There's a couple of good climbs in it. And if Vingegaard gets his feet and those two have put on the jewel we're all hoping it's going to be, it could very well come down to that final time trial. And what I'll be on the plane before that, I can tell you.
Yeah. Troy Collett, Jayco with 2 leaders, obviously talking about the Jayco Alula team. Now, we had Luke Durbridge on the Social Distance podcast only a couple of days ago. So we got some good insights from Durbo about the team and talking about, because it's his 10th tour this year, but talked about, when you have a good tour, when you have a bad tour, but it really is about getting off to a good start. So this is what Durbo had to say a couple of days ago. But it's a good point you were saying before about feeling the pressure of your role. That being said, given that your role is primarily to help others, if the other people aren't getting the results, do the whole team feel that? And how do you overcome that as a group?
Super, super difficult. Good question, Jonesy. Like, in terms of, like, it's one of the hardest environments and probably one of the worst environments to be in the tour when things aren't going well. And I've done tours before when we've had really bad crashes, just can't get the result, and the pressure builds every day, and then you start to do desperate shit, and it's just like, I think it was 2021. We were going pretty good. We're going for the green jersey for Bling. We ran second in heaps of stages. Bling was right there, but Cavendish ended up holding on to win the green jersey. And, like, it could have gone either way. We could have won one stage, and then Cavendish, we thought, was going to go home because he had showed no level to get through the Tour de France, and we would have got the green jersey. So all of a sudden, just that sliding door moment would have been like, Cav went home, we won a stage, would have been one of our best tours we've had. Instead, we didn't win a stage, and we came back empty-handed. Nothing happened, and it was just horrible. Like, and we're all just sitting there like, what do we do? Like, we're trying as hard as we can, but we can't get a result. But that's just because the tour is so important for teams to get results in. So if you can start the first week, I mean, you're going to be telling your boys this, Phils, I'm sure, but, like, you start the first week with a bang, and then things start rolling. I mean, one year we won 4 stages, and it was just amazing. We just, like, started with one with Darryl Impey, and then after that it was just like floodgates open, and we just couldn't, everything we touched turned to gold, and that was just one of the best experiences. So
I mopped up on the punt that year because I used to ring Matty Wilson and go, who's going in the break today, mate? He goes, I reckon Imps is going to have a crack. I go, ooh. And, like, I was getting them at like 30-1, and then I can't get a cycling bet on in Australia anymore. I've been blacklisted.
Yeah, well, fair enough. That's like insider trading.
Is a little bit. Did you still actually work for Grange at the time? You did?
Yeah, I was still doing the videos.
Probably should cut that.
Probably should cut that.
No, that was 2020.
Yeah,
you still owe me that.
They'll never catch you.
Yeah, good times. It was a good year. I loved it. But we've got our first guest.
That was great. I noticed you get a plug in of your other podcasts that you do. It's very well done, Dan.
Well, that one's still going, mate. We don't have
I know.
2-year breaks on social business. No, we've got a guest whose link works, who's live on the ground, and that is, of course, Matt White. Whitey.
Hey.
Welcome back to the detour, mate.
Yeah, it's been a while between drinks.
First guest for 2 years. Liggett was supposed to be the first one, but he couldn't get online. So you're it.
Oh, good stuff. It's a hot one this morning. It's a real warm one today.
I was going to say, how's the mood in the camp, mate? It's always a big build-up to any Tour de France, but given that you're starting in Italy, how's it feel?
It doesn't feel like the tour. It feels like a hot stage of the Giro at the moment.
Really?
But we're in Florence, and it's going to be 35 degrees today and really muggy. And it's a tough day. Well over 200K with the 17K neutral, and not too much flat today. So it's not your normal start to the Tour de France as far as terrain-wise, but looking forward to it, getting the show underway.
Now, I spoke to Matty Hayman the other day, and he was actually doing recce of that of today's stage. And as he was doing it, he was saying, he kept saying, "Whoa, this is hard." And because, looking at it, it's a chance for Bling on the edge. But Matty was saying it could end up being the GC boys, especially if they go out hard, which they're likely to do.
Yeah, I think, and that's why we do recons, because some information is good, but actually seeing it live and seeing what the roads are like, it's a game changer. And I think in our planning stages, we had this one earmarked as a possibility for Bling, and it still could work out that way. But I would think the best chance there would probably, if it's because it's so hot, that maybe if it's raced negatively, you get a bigger group to the final. But I don't think so. I think we're going to see fireworks straight away in this opening weekend.
And you'd think because we'll have to do the old finger thing, won't we, Dan? So I don't jump in on you, mate. Sorry. With the little bit of doubt over Vingegaard, because he's been out for so long, no big races. Do you think the Pog will say he's not going to let him get into this? He's going to hit him right from the start?
Yes, I do. I think, look, at the end of the day, Vingegaard's here because they believe he can still win the Tour de France. I think they're playing it down deliberately in the media. Look, he hasn't raced since April, at the end of April, but nor is Simon Yates, nor did Tadej Pogacar last year. So it's not uncommon for GC guys to have 2 months no competition because they have the ability to train really hard. It is a limited preparation, but the guy is class. Is he going to be at 100% at the start of the Tour de France? I doubt it. But is he going to be at 100% in week 3? Who knows? So I think that UAE will put him under pressure sometime in this first opening week, and I think as well is people don't understand that the team that UAE have put together here, that's the best team that has ever been put together in professional cycling. There has never been a team on the start line of the Tour de France with 4 Grand Tour podium winners inside the same team. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Mate, what about the old days of the Sheriff? I'd say.
Yeah, there wasn't 4 blokes in the team who'd been on the podium of Grand Tour. That's for sure. So it really is incredible. So you've got Adam Yates, 3rd last year. You've got Ayuso, who podiumed the Welter at 19 years of age, the youngest ever rider to podium a Grand Tour, and then you've got Almeida, who was on the podium of the Giro last year. So it's an incredible roster, and I think they're going to use their numerical advantage. And actually, when you look at also Jumbo have been gutted in the last 3 weeks as well, losing Van Baal and Kruijswijk with crashes at Dauphiné and then Step Course this week. So they haven't got the team that they would have liked on the start line. UAE have the team they've dreamed of to have on the start line. And at the end of the day, you look at Pogacar and the Giro, and he's actually come out openly and said that actually I've recovered from the Giro, and actually this is the best I've ever felt. So, which is a pretty ominous sign.
One fascinating thing I was going to say, when we spoke to Durbo the other day, is the effect of proper nutrition in cycling and how riders are getting to the back end of races and not feeling as bad as back in the day, because they were looking back going, we never used to eat or drink nearly enough, and the technology about how to get the carbs in and so forth, your body is just on super stress, and then, it snowballs from there.
Yeah, and actually all that work starts in training. So the amount of carbohydrates per hour these guys are consuming, you can't just do it at races. These guys have got to train their stomach to be able to handle that load at home. So they're going 100 grams per hour, some up to 120 grams per hour. So they're basically, a lot of the guys are actually training as they race, as in with their gels and with their certain food types, because otherwise you just can't come to a race and put your stomach under that load. So it definitely has been a game changer. And actually, when you look at not too far ago, and I think that has changed the racing, the aggressiveness of the racing, because actually the racing has changed a lot over the last decade, and people were underfueled, but also the style of the racing, you could get away with it because there was a fast start, a slow, steady middle, and then a hard final. Whereas these days, nearly every race is a hard start, a hard finish, and an even faster final.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Whitey. It hasn't been the greatest season so far for Jake O'Leary, but it just seems to have turned around a little bit. Slovakia, you're going really well at the moment, dominating that, and with Dylan winning the Dutch title shows he's in great sprint form. Going back to last year's tour, disappointing you didn't win a stage, but you actually had a very good tour. Yates, almost won the first stage, almost iffy story, almost got the first yellow jersey and finished just off the podium in 4th place. Wonderful comeback. Yep. And Dylan almost won the last stage on the Sharps. He'd come flying home. So close, so close. This year, is it redemption time?
Yeah, I hope so, mate. I hope so. I think we've definitely had a quieter start. The last week's been great. We've had 5 wins in the last week. We won 3 national titles and 2 stages in Slovakia. So we're sitting on 15 wins, which is nice. But we are definitely lacking some of the bigger wins we would have liked in the World Tour events. But it's 90% of this. Last year, it's the same team as last year with Michael Matthews in and Lawson Craddock out. So we have I think statistically, this is the oldest team in the Tour de France, and it's the most experienced team in the Tour de France as far as participations of Tour de France. So it's a great group to work with. Durbo's on his 10th tour, and Yates is on his 7th, and we've got guys besides Chris Harper and Elmar Reinders who are on their 2nd. Everyone else has done between 5 and 10 Tour de France's. So it's a group we know what we can get out of these guys. It's a very tight group, and there is going to be plenty of opportunities over the next 3 weeks. And we dodged a couple of bullets with a couple of the boys with COVID a couple of weeks ago. And so we're in a good place to start what's going to be a pretty hectic month. But we're looking to go one place higher with Yatesy, and then also win a stage with Dylan, and it'd be great to win a stage with Pling as well.
So I don't know what's happened there, but I can't hear anything now.
Yeah, that's because I had my mic on mute because I was telling the kids to stop yelling in the background. Sorry about that.
Karen Jones just sent a really good message through asking whether there it is. Can Cav get the win he needs? What do you reckon, Whitey?
Well, as long as it doesn't cost us a win, I'd love to see him win one as well. We all know that he's a legend, and just the persistence he's shown over the last 6 or 7 years. He's had a real rough trot there, and personally, and just the persistence of the man. It would be great to see him take the record because I think he deserves it. I don't think you really can compare him and Eddie Merckx anyway. It's just a number of who is the best. Well, for me, it's the most successful guy at the tour, but it's more about sprinting. And Cav's won all his stages in sprints, whereas Eddie won GC and he won everything under the sun. It would be nice to see him, but hopefully it's not at the cost of us.
We've got another live question from Troy Collett. He says, will there be more riders pulling out of the tour to rest up for the Olympics, Whitey?
No. So the window's okay, actually, because the time trial's the weekend after, and then the road race is 2 weeks after. So 2 weeks is actually a pretty good window. So in London, it was 5 days. We went direct from Paris across to London. And Saturday was the road race. So no, there won't be. I think a few of the guys who are maybe not on general classification will probably be looking for easier days in the back end of the race. But no, everyone's priority is on here. And if you think you can win here in the last week, you'll go for it. And like I said, I think for the Olympic time trial, it's not the ideal preparation being at the Tour de France, because and my pick for the Olympic time trial is actually Josh Tarling, actually. And I think for the road race, it's the perfect preparation because for the road race you can't simulate this workload, but for the time trial, those guys will be doing very, very specific work. And sometimes, and these guys, there is 2 TTs in the race, but none of them look like the Olympic time trial. But the problem with being at the tour and having a 6-day turnaround for the time trial is you can't really control the load you have here. So you could come out it's not enough time to really freshen up. You'll be very strong the weekend after here, but maybe not as fresh as you would like to be. So the guys who are not here at the tour, and that's Plappy, Josh Tarling. And there's not too many, actually. Those guys, I think, have got a little bit of an advantage because they can control what they do in the next 4 weeks, whereas the road riders, I'd be very surprised to see the Olympic champion not in this bike race.
The Olympics is important to us, especially Australians. We've always been the Olympics great important thing. And I remember when I was lucky enough to compete at the Olympics, how special it was. But it hasn't been a part of pro cycling. When I turned pro, I couldn't compete at the Olympics anymore. It was in the 90s before they allowed the pros to even ride in the Olympics in cycling. And at first, it wasn't that important. It has become quite important, but it's not so important to the teams because they're riding for their nations, not for their sponsors.
Oh, it's pretty important for Astana.
Whatever. Why that?
Didn't he get the golden bike, Vino, after he won the Olympic road race?
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's an exception. Carry on.
Yeah, you won a couple of other awards as well, but that's another story. But so as far as the Olympics is concerned, it's really important for the riders. A lot of them, but the Tour de France is much, much bigger for everyone in cycling. It is the biggest event by a mile.
Yeah, I think the big reason there as well is because of copyright and rights. Even if you do have the Olympic champion in the team, you can't market it. So the teams can't get the benefit of having the Olympic champion really in their team. So.
Haven't you gone rogue with your tattoo, Whitey? Isn't that barred as well? Getting the rings tattooed?
It is a rip-off. Yep, it is. It wasn't. I didn't ask permission. And it looks like both Olympic champions won't be present in Paris anyway. So the Ecuadorians had one spot and they didn't pick Carapaz. They picked Navarez, which is the right choice. And it looks like the Slovenians are not going to take Roglic because Roglic doesn't want to do the time trial because of what I mentioned before. He's all in to win the Tour, and if he's not doing the time trial, he's not the best bloke for the road race.
We've had a few live questions come in. Sally and Oz says, thoughts on Jayco's new kit? Lee Turner says, can we discuss the orange and green kit? And his partner Alison McCormack says, do you like it, Lee? What's your thoughts, Whitey?
I like it. I when I first heard we were going to green and orange, I was like, oh, gee. And then it actually looks really good. And it looks good. We've got the orange and green helmets as well. It's going to stand out in the bunch, and it's a special one for both Tour de France's, the men's and the women's tour. So the women will be wearing that in the ladies' tour in a couple of weeks. And I like it. The green is a dark green. It looks classy, and it's something different, and I really like it.
Yeah, I think I like the orange. I think it'll stand out. I reckon we'll be able to pick the Jayco Lula boys better than ever in it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the green in that it's close to the green jersey green, but it's the orange you're going to see in the bunch. So that's going to stand
definitely.
out.
Bright shoulders, and also it's orange and green helmet, so you will be able to see us. And I don't think anyone's wearing orange, so we're the only ones.
There you go. We're laughing.
We've got to let you go pretty soon, Whitey, but given that you've got the experience in the squad, as you mentioned, how much is that going to play a pivotal role, particularly, when it comes to results, the first week, all the stress, all the chaos? How much is that going to be an advantage in the bunch?
Yeah, it will, because it's a pretty nerve-wracking thing, the first week of the Tour de France. And if you've been here before, some people adapt to it very quick and some people take a little bit of time. And our guys, because they've been here before, we know exactly what we can ask of them. And like I said, I heard Durbo talking before, it would be really nice to get off and away to a good start. And, we've got our first sprint opportunity on day 3. So the first couple of days we'll just be keeping Yatesy out of trouble, and then it's just game on. And it is. I think knowing exactly what you can get out of the guys, it really makes our job a lot easier on this side of the fence, because we're such experienced guys, and it's a group that does race a lot together during the season. You got a core group there that riding the classics together. and then you got your climbers who've been here before. And no, it's going to be it's a great group to work with, and sky's the limit.
I just wish you all the best, mate, because I really do think you're going to have a great tour. You've got 3 different options. Groenewegen is sprinting so well. There are 6 or 7 stages for the sprinters. Some of them might be breakaways, but some really good opportunities. A lot of people are saying that Philipson's sort of got that part done and dusted, but I reckon Bling will give him a run for the green jersey anyway, especially being so hard early, like some really hard stages. He can get some points, and he's in great form. So I'm looking forward to, then there's those intermediate stages that he'd be so good for, and then to watch Simon and Chris Harper is flying. So I'm looking forward to watching that duo work together in the mountains. It was interesting that Durbo, when you had him on your other podcast the other day, which I pinched some quotes out of from a paper story, but he spoke about how it can be tough having to work for 3 different people, but that Yatesy makes it so easy because he's so chilled. He doesn't need the whole 7 guys around him all the time,
like the
nervous
fuss.
like some of them.
Yeah,
it's a big
No,
plus.
he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. As long and he's a very good bike handler. As long as you've got eyes on him and know where he is, he's pretty happy with that. So, and there's obviously times where you do have to really make sure if it's crosswind or that sort of stuff. But during a stage, he doesn't want 5 guys riding around him. He just wants to, as long as you got someone with him and eyes on him. If you've got a problem, he's good to go. So no, we have got 3 leaders, which is great for options. But I think the combination will work well.
Now, one thing we used to always love asking you on the potty back in the day, Whitey, was the ambience, the food, the colour. What's the accommodation been like, and what was on the menu last night, mate?
Well, remember, we're not in France, so the hotel's okay. The air conditioning works, thank God, because it's warm. It's really warm here in Florence. But the food, as you would expect here in Italy, has been sensational. It's the only country I eat pasta in. So I've had a couple of risottos and a couple of good pastas. And we're here until Sunday night. We're in Italy, and then we cross the border on Monday, and then back to reality. We're south of France. We'll be a fair bit of duck on the cards, but so far so good with the culinary part of the tour, mate. You know something's gone drastically wrong if you're eating bad in this country.
Correct. Exactly. And as the tour early on, obviously we saw some pictures of the Prezzo on that. Are they doing a good job at roping back the crowds and the chaos in the hotels? And remember there was a few issues with that a couple of years ago, and a lot of the teams arced up about that, given the situations with COVID and the likes.
Yeah. Well, because we're in Florence, there's actually been very, very few people around the hotel, which has been nice for the guys. But I think today it will be a crazy stage with crowds. I think it'll be crazy because this is one of the heartlands of Italian cycling, and it's not every day they do get the Tour de France in their backyard. And so I expect the crowds to be bonkers today. The only thing that might keep a little bit the crowds away is the heat. I think we're looking at 35, 36 degrees. It's already nearly 30 degrees out there now. But no, I think people not really worried so much about COVID anymore, even though it is around, and there was a chunk of riders who got it at the Dauphiné. So, and people these days, and the doctors are allowing people to race with it anyway, as long as the symptoms are low. So no, I think the circus will continue, and it'll be as crazy as ever. And it's like the first couple of days. It's cross your finger, cross whatever you got, and you just want to get through these stages in one piece, because there's a lot of nerves and a lot of stress, especially these first couple of days.
Well, mate, look, great tour. One of the other things going against you, you haven't got Vazzy and I out doing the bottle feeds for you this year. I'm sorry about that. You'll miss us out in the road, I'm sure. But have a great Tour de France, pal.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. And 1 hour and 15 minutes to be out of here. We're on the road.
Good stuff, mate.
All right, see you guys. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
See you, Matty.
See you, gents.
I had
Who's
me
that?
I had
Who
me
was that?
mic, I had me mic on mute again.
I know.
So I was saying all this gold, and I thought, geez, Whitey's keen to leave. He didn't even respond to my question, but my mic was on mute. Yes. Anyway, we've got another special guest, Iffy, and his tech is working as well. And he is up and about because the Carlton Footy Club are tipped to make the grand final this year.
Yes.
And that is, of course, Luke Plapp. How are you, Plappy?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are we?
Lappy, how are you, buddy? Well,
Good,
you were
mate.
at the game, Carlton, just a few days ago, and now you're back in Spain.
I was. We worked out that was my first game in 5 years, which is not enjoyable being on this side of the world when the season's on. But no, I think that was the first time I've ever seen Carlton play well. And look, we're not going to stop. We're going all the way to the grand final, and I might have to have some serious chats with the Australian cycling team about the world's road race, because that is the same day as the grand final.
Oh, it's a simple decision, mate. You're going to the granny.
Yeah, for me,
World
exactly. I just need to let them know what's going on. It's not a discussion. Yeah.
Now, you've just been out to Australia for a training block. You first of all, congratulations, mate, on a fantastic ride in the Giro, especially some of it under a little bit of duress. I got to say, the stage that you went so well in, when you had a little bit of an upset tummy and you had to do a double demoulen, as they say, at the stop on the side of the road twice, and to come back, that was a very, very impressive effort. But tell us a bit about that day, what you can.
Yeah, no, look, it wasn't good. That was the second time now it's happened, hey, which is not good for the track record. When I was in China, I had to stop and get out of the race, and I thought, I could blame that on China, but it's happened again, so I got to clear the air for that and make sure that nothing doesn't happen again. But yeah, just got really crook in the guts, and yeah, had to stop, had no other choice. I think it would have been a real close battle for the win if it wasn't the case. Like, obviously had to waste a lot of energy to come back there, but yeah, it just was a shitty day. But I mean, the way the whole race panned out that day, we said we needed to get into the break, and we missed it at the start. So the whole team chopped off to be able to get me back in there. So look, it was one of our better days as a team. We didn't have too many amazing days, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, for me personally, it was I was pretty happy considering how everything happened with illness. But yeah, a bit disappointing as a team.
I was just going to say, obviously, there's another race just about to start, mate. And we were just chatting to Matt White then about the hype for the Tour de France. You know a lot of the riders. How are you seeing it panning out this year?
I think Poggy's going to need a minute and a half by day 10, I think,
right,
to be safe. I just think the last week's way too hard, and I think Vingegaard's only going to get better. So I think he's going to want a bit of a buffer come day 10, which is more than likely. It's probably more than likely he'll get 30 seconds today. But for us personally, I think Harps will be flying. I think if he just stays out of trouble the first few days, I think he'll be one of the best climbers in the race, which is really exciting. And then hopefully Yatesy has a good one. It's hard to tell with Yatesy. I mean, he hasn't raced much this year, and he did the exact same build up last year, and bloody almost won stage 1 and got on the podium. So you just don't know how he's going to go. But I think Harps will be right up there. Yeah.
Now, interestingly, I was talking to Matty Heyman the other day. He was talking about how the pressure of the tour now, it is more dangerous. I mean, they're just going like last 2 years. There's hardly been a bit of respite in every stage, and that's putting the extra pressure on. But the stage he was most concerned about was stage 9 in Troyes or Troyes, and it's through the Champagne region, and there's 32 kilometres of gravel, 14 gravel sections, a bit like a Paris-Roubaix, but they're not just bits of gravel, they're through the vines, really narrow, hard for the cars to get up and look after their riders. It's going to be an absolute, nightmare for some. The GC riders will be be so worried, and the teams will be worried. Do you know much about that stage, Plappy?
No, I've just heard that it's basically up goat tracks or people's backyards to get through to the stage. So I think it's going to be hectic. Yeah, I can just see cyclists protesting or trying to do something. I think we can get in that mood and that mindset that it's not acceptable and we're bigger than the race. So I'm sure something's going to probably happen. But yeah, I think we saw that at the Giro. It's if they have a couple hard days or a bit of shitty weather, it's too hot. I think before that stage, there might be a bit of talk, I reckon.
Yeah, as the Tour de France, mate, they'll have a lot more trouble trying to get them to change their mind than the Italians.
Well, that's where Pog can get his minute and a half you're talking about before stage 10.
Yeah, probably.
He'd love it.
They'll all be worried, mate. They'll be really worried. You get a puncture in the wrong spot, your car's not going to be anywhere near you. You'll be worried. You'll be jumping, you'll swapping bikes with a teammate. That's what will happen.
I'd love to see Geraint Thomas ride GC till that day. Like, just still be in and around the mark till then. Have an absolute ripper there, and then he's forced to ride GC. Because he says he's not going for it, but he's also said he's not going to drop himself. Like, he'll still hang on as long as he can. So
you're an ex-Ineos man, so I've been loving watching Bernal coming back. Interesting. He said something really fascinating the other day. He said his numbers are showing that he's better than before he broke his leg and better than when he won the Tour de France. It's just that the whole peloton's moved past that. It's making it so tough.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Like, I still think people forget when Bernal won the Tour, he was one of the youngest ever to do it, and he was going to win the next 10, everyone said. And then Pog comes along and he's going to win the next 10, and then Vinegar comes along. So I think people do forget how good Bernal was. And I know how hard he works and how hard he tries to come back. And I think to get to the level where he's at now is pretty phenomenal, really, considering like it was a worse crash than Froome had. Bernal he's lucky to be alive. So I think it shows his character and how much of a fighter he is. And yeah, he said his power's better, which is unbelievable to think he's already back to that level. But I think he probably thought once he gets to this power, he's going to be at the top again. And to see how much stronger Poggy and Jonas are is pretty scary racing against him, to be honest.
I'm going to run through a couple of live questions. Velo McVilly says, "G'day, how are you, Vaughan?" Kirsty Baxter says, "Insider Train." That was talking about gambling on the Tour before when I said I couldn't get a bet on. Jason Cruz from the Maldives. He says he's pissed off. He missed the start.
Well, you can watch it. We need to bring him in because we need to get a Maldives trip up on the thing.
Yeah. Jan Boardman says, "Plappy 2, you're spoiling us." And Lee Turner says, "Gravel has no place in the Tour." Do you agree from a rider's perspective, Plappy? Do you think, gravel, Roubaix-like stages?
Yeah, I do, in the sense that I don't think misfortune should cost you. Like, I don't think a puncture or not so much a crash, because crash isn't about positioning and you got to be in good position. I just don't think, misfortune with a puncture should ruin your race. And especially when it is on the gravel, if you puncture, it's not like the team car's close to you. Yeah, like you said, if you're out of the race, basically, and you're trying to get a teammate's bike. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I personally don't think it's in there. I can see why they want it to, because you say, well, the GC rider's the best rider over all terrains in 3 weeks. But I think if that you can't win the race there, but you can lose it, and I think that's what's pretty shit.
Mm. You agree, John?
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't mind. A stage like that, it's a beautiful area. Whack 2 or 3 of them in, far enough apart that you can.
2 or 3, settle the fuck down. Just one.
Well, that's fine. But
One's enough.
There's 14, I think, in this one. 14 gravel sections of 32 kilometres. So I reckon that's a bit too much.
Mean sectors. Section,
not
stages.
Stages.
Yeah.
No. 2 or 3 sectors in a
14 stupid. 14 stupid.
Bit over the top. But look, Yeah, I'm excited about this Tour de France because it's on today, and there's this question mark over Remco as well. He's had to come back from injury, as in Roglic. That's why I think that there's no way that the Pog isn't full pressure on with his team, strongest team we've ever seen, according to Whitey. That pressure will be on from the start. It's big climbs early. It's a really tough day, and tomorrow's not an easy day either. So we're going to have some really serious racing over the next few days. So and then a sprint stage 5, stage 5, stage 3, 5, 6, 8, 10, all sprint stages. So bit of everything.
They changed the 3K rule to 5K rule for the Tour this year, which I like.
Yeah,
good,
which
good
is
idea.
In just in certain stages, isn't it? Certain sprint stages.
I think there's 6 dead on sprint days, like the ones that were nailed on sprints. They've changed, which is good.
Yeah, which is it's a good thing. It does 2 things. One, it gives the GC riders, because nothing worse than 3.5K out and you get caught in a fall.
Jack
Haig,
remember a couple of
years ago. Exactly. But also it takes a bit of the pressure off for those for the GC guys in that last 5K. They can not be in the way. I mean, I know they want to the splits are still a problem, but mainly it stays together pretty well bunch time, and then get them out of the way, because they only get in the way in the sprint stages.
Live question, Iffy.
Asked Plapp about 2025 Tour Down Under stages. Well, it was funny. I was having lunch with Plappy the day he left, and the route come out. And I remember you weren't happy about the finale not being around that tough stage. But have you looked at it in more detail?
Yeah, I have. I'm still undecided on how I think they're going to pan out. I think it's a harder TDU than usual with the more climbing meters, and the stages are still they're nice short stages like always. And it's they've loaded the climbing meters in. I just don't think it's hard enough that it's going to be splits. I think Wollonga is the only day you're going to get a split as such with the strongest riders. I still think it's going to come down to bonus seconds, and having Wollonga so I think it's going to be a very similar format in my eyes. Is going to be you're going to have those Darryl Impies, Corbin Strongs, Ethan Hayter type of riders that are going to be trying to get 10, 20-second bonus seconds in the first 4 days before Wollonga. Then the climbers are going to try to get a few seconds back on Wollonga. And then the thing that obviously I don't like, but it's good. It's much better racing. After Wollonga, if your sprinters had a couple bonus seconds in the bank, they might be 10 seconds behind you after Wollonga. The last day, it'll come back down to a sprint and bonus seconds again. So I think it's going to be a more stressful tour because a lot's going to go down in the bonus seconds as always. But the stages are very cool, and I think it definitely does have the potential to split. I just think it probably won't.
And you plan to stay on your bike in this one?
I do plan to stay on my bike in this one.
I tell you what, I don't think I've seen anyone with more skin off than you had after that crash.
It wasn't good.
Down this year. You look like a scun rabbit.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Should have asked White. I should have got in first and asked White if I have to go to nationals or not.
Yeah.
Have to make a trip to Perth.
You're going to ask the obvious question, John?
Sorry?
You're going to ask the obvious question now before we wrap things up with Plappy?
Well, I was going to ask, of course, the Olympics are a big thing for you. You've been selected for Australia for the time trial and the road race. And, of course, the time trial, you're quite passionate about it. And I know you believe that you can get on the podium and maybe even get to the top step. But when Whitey was talking about the time trial at the Olympics, he never gave you a mention just 5 minutes ago.
Rough, isn't he? No, to be fair, he's been very good to me. It was Whitey who was very supportive of me coming back to Oz and preparing for the Olympics. So the team's been awesome in that sense. Yeah, it was super exciting. I mean, it was 1 a.m. last night and my phone just went absolutely bonkers because the announcement went off. So yeah, it was really, really nice to get named. I got the boarding pass here still.
Nice.
But yeah, for me, it's like sort of the reason I ride is to go to the game. So it's super special to be able to go to my second one. And yeah, we'll see how training goes the next couple of weeks. I've got Tour of Austria next week as a bit of a preparation race. And then we'll get stuck into some TT efforts. But yeah, look, I'd really like to see myself in the top 5 and really fighting for a podium. I'm not sure whether that's just me or it's realistic or not. But I think obviously Garner and Tarling are the 2 big ones. I'd probably take Tarling as my favorite. But yeah, anything can happen. I've done a recon of the course and just really excited to be over there. And then I think Bling's a massive, massive chance. So to be part of that team with Clarkey to support Bling, going to be really exciting too.
Now, you had your first ride on the brand new giant time trial bike when you were back in Oz. What's different about it? And can you say?
No. Secret. Can't mention it. So
Can't mention
it's good that you
don't know what bike you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should always preface your guests with a bit of these are the talking points, mate. And then
then it wouldn't be the detour. Wouldn't be the detour, mate.
Yeah.
Don't know what bike you're talking about.
It must be good then. Yeah.
Well, good stuff.
No, I'm enjoying riding my special bike. So
yeah, very good.
Okay. Oh, wow. Now everyone's going to be jumping online and looking at things now.
All right. Before we let you go, one last question, Plappy, because we've got a lot of degenerates to tune into this show, and that is who's your tip for the stage?
To be honest, I haven't fucking seen a thing about the tour or gone through the stages.
Stage was perfect. Neither have we.
Stage 1.
We'll give you a look at the profile, mate, and then
give us a squeeze.
Yeah, there you go. It's hot. It's humid. 35 degrees. Yeah, and obviously, given that there's a yellow jersey up for grabs, the first stages are always hectic. And the market says you got Poggy on top, then Wout van Aert, Van der Poel, Bettiol, Pidcock, Maxim van Gils, Evenepoel, Roglic, Blings at 26-1.
Nah, too hard for the big boys. I'll back my boy Pidcock. I'd love to see him do well. I think it suits him well, and he came out absolutely swinging in Mountain Bike World Cup.
And he's pissed off after the Netflix show as well.
No comment. And he's I mean, I think he's here. I honestly think he's at the tour for a bit of a tune-up and to have some fun targeting stages before he goes and wins another Olympic gold on the mountain bike. So I think he'll come and collect his prize early and then probably piss off.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, it's been great to have you on the show, Plappy. Good luck for
Thank you,
Blues
boys.
playing tomorrow, playing Richmond, I think. So there's another W.
Did I just wake up and see Freo got up?
Did they?
Oh, really?
I haven't even had a look, mate.
Fremantle beat Sydney by 1 point.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
That's
in
awesome.
Sydney.
Wow. There you go.
Oh, they played in Alice Springs.
Yeah,
So
we've got to go because the Pies have just started. They've got to go see how they're going.
you're already behind me, Iffy. You're already losing.
Good stuff. All right, Plappy. Well, all the best, mate. Thanks for jumping back on the detour, mate.
Send me a link. Send me a link whenever you want me on.
Yeah,
Thanks,
legend.
buddy.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Plappy. Cheers,
Okay,
mate.
See you, pal.
Luke Plapp. Now, before we wrap things up, Iffy, very special announcement. We're going to have a Tour de France. What are we going to call it? A watching party, or what do you describe it?
Well, there you go. So an old friend of mine, he's actually a Valley boy. He originally comes from just out the back of Mall, your Law North boy, ex-racing guy. And he's got a restaurant, just about to open a second one. They're called The Fat Chef in Gaffney Street, Coburg. And on Fridays and Saturdays, open 24 hours, we're going to have a detour party on the third stage 14, which is the 13th, Saturday night, the 13th of July. There you go. Paul Richards. Look at that food. That's what it's going to be
that
like.
Food looks amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be called the Pog Table or the Jonas Table, depending or the Vinegar Table, depending who's in charge at the time. But yeah, special episodes. We'll send out some more information on social. So everyone's welcome, but it fits about 120. I'm bringing 25 5 along, I think. And we're going to do the podcast live from there just before the start of the stage that night. And then we're going to watch the stage for it. And it's a great stage too. It's the one up the Play du Tay, I think say it, in where...
Play du Tay?
Yeah,
that's
it.
Play
du Tay. It's where Phil Anderson had his first yellow jersey back in 1981. So it's a very, very tough stage. They go over the Tourmalet that day as well. So we'll watch all of that live, have a great party. I reckon.
And there's no upfront cost. Just come and have a meal.
Come and have a meal, have your meal, buy your drinks, party with the Detour boys. Paul Richards, who is a bit of a legend himself, I'd say he's a Valley boy, so I know him well. He won as a junior. He says he's never won anything, but I played one of my mates because I knew his family, and they gave me a thing here where he actually won a state junior title as a young bloke. So he was talented. Good mate with Spitzy in the Old Valley.
Check him out on Insta. It's Fat Chef Never Trust a Skinny Chef. That's a long title. If you can punch that in, get on Insta. And the address again is Shop 11, 180 Gaffney Street, Coburg North. And it's open 24 hours, so we can run right into the wee hours of the morning, yeah?
Yes. So if people want to
bring a swag.
Yeah, but if they want to actual hook their name in now, so you don't, because don't tell them tonight, you won't get in. You won't get in.
Oh,
read the book.
Chockers.
Read the book. It's going to be a great night. So, Paul, thanks for coming on board, mate. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And we'll be doing another.
We'll post it on socials and let everyone know leading up to it as well. But thanks again for everyone for tuning in to the Detour again. Sandy Woolley, Telstra Connected Cycling back in the day. Nice work down in Iffy. Appreciate all your support, guys. And thanks, obviously, to Matt White and Luke Plapp for jumping on. And we will be back. When are we going back? Monday week, rest day.
Yes, well, we may even have one before that. I've got sponsors ringing me saying they want to back us, and so we might have to do one a bit earlier. So it depends, mate. We get an Aussie going into yellow or winning a stage. We'll be jumping on the bandwagon.
Get them on live. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll jump on the bandwagon. So, really enjoyed coming back today, Dan. Loved your little promo.
I'll do some more. I got heaps of names I can do AI deepfake content with, so that's fine. All right, guys. Thanks again. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your mates we're back, and we'll see you again soon. And finally, who's your prediction for tonight's stage, Johnny? Before we go,
I'm chasing. I was going with Bling, but I don't think Bling or Van Aert or Van der Poel will get through this. I think UAE are going to put the pressure on right at the start. But no, I'm going to throw a smoke in. I'm going to go with Simon Yates.
Okay. And it's not like Johnny to be biased on the Detour. Remember that, folks. He always looks for other teams other than Jayco Lawler. So it's a big call. We'll see you again soon. Take it easy.
Have you settled the score about the drop chain?
No. It's written down.
It's Baden Cook. I completely forgot about Baden Cook.
He forgot about it.
I think it's a bit surprised that I won. It's not many occasions where you actually set a plan and they actually come off.
Hearing that from him, gives me goosebumps.
Cadell Evans cannot be beaten now.
This is the first time I hear Stewie and Andy side of the story.
And I took a cab home in the Maglia Rosa, and the cab driver did not believe me that was actually the pink jersey. Why the hell would you be in my cab?
What I've learned through my life is everything is just a phase,
It's a real pleasure for me to be able to come back and jump on here with you guys because I admire what you do. I really do.